according to the word of God. So what happens right here? So here's the point. We got to have certain faith in uncertain times. See, faith is like a muscle that has to be exercised. You don't know how strong you are until you have some opposition. See, you're not going to develop a faith muscle talking about, I lifted up a fork today, Lord. You know, I'm not developing my muscle. A fork, now, the greater the resistance, the more the muscle. Greater the resistance, bigger the muscle. Greater the resistance, the more pronounced the muscle. And so what happens, we cannot be fearful, but faithful in uncertain times. I have to know at this point, be so full of faith that fear can't exist. Right now, there's so much light in here, there's no darkness that can be here. But without light, darkness is going to be there. So what happens? If I'm not going to walk in my faith, fear is always ready to creep in. I got to have some certain faith, guaranteed faith in the midst of uncertain times. Now here's the role for believers. It's the church has to lead in uncertain times. We clearly not getting anything from the White House, but we ought to have some leadership from God's house. Amen, somebody. Amen, somebody. Some leadership from God's house. I said some leadership from God's house. So what does that mean? That means that we now say in the midst of all this going on, God is still God. God is still amazing. God has still moved. God has still worked it out. I'm not going to allow, in the midst of having a virus, I still know I have victory, and we have to start leading and not always following. You know, I'm telling you, it's too long. If you ever go back and look at the book over there in Joshua, from chapters 2 on, when they get ready to go into Canaan, they go back and put the priests in front and the people went behind them. It's time for the church to lead and not follow. It makes no sense that now we're going to now go do music just like the world so we can start winning the world. And you know, in some cases with some of this music, whether or not you're going to be playing in the club on Saturday night or in the church house on Sunday morning, it's time for us to lead. We don't lead the world by being like the world. We lead the world by knowing I serve a risen God. I serve a risen Savior. I know who He is. I trust who He is. I'm going to follow and continue to rely on who He is. That's how we lead. So what happens? There's some folk that we're going to come in contact with either by FaceTime or WhatsApp app. And then you go back and you tell them, don't walk in fear. Don't walk in doubt. Because at this point, we know we already have victory. So what happened? So read this with me now. From John 14:27, Amplified Classic. Let's read that together. Peace. Who is that? Who is that? Peace. Jesus. Leave. Now, who is you? Believe. Okay. All right. Now, okay. So it's not believers telling Jesus now. All right. Jesus telling us. All right. So peace, Jesus, leave with you believers. Keep going. My own peace I now what? Give and bequeath to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Now look what he says right here. And because you have my peace. Keep going. Do not. What's the implication when it says do not? You do not. God said, don't ask me to do what I told you to do. Because I gave you power to do it. We cannot keep asking God to do what He told us to do when He gave us power to do it. So do not let your hearts, what? So we can't keep praying, God, don't let my heart be troubled. He said, I gave you the power. Do not let your heart be troubled. So if your heart is troubled, we're not using the power God gave. Come on now. If our heart is troubled, we are allowing fear to come in and we're not keeping it guarded and protected and it's creeping in through the back door. So you do not let your heart be troubled. Keep going. Neither let them be afraid. Oh, watch what happens in Corinthians. And just in case we missed it. Stop. What's before stop? You stop. You stop allowing yourselves to be agitated. Keep going. And disturbed. And do not permit yourself to be fearful and intimidated and unsettled. That's the whole idea about that right here. Doubt is simply It's being unsettled. It's being uncertain. It's being unsure. When we know that the peace of God resides in us, we don't have to allow. I love this verse right now. I'm telling you, if there's a verse that's going to get us through this is our verse right here. Because he says, he already told in 2 Timothy 1:7, I did not give you, God did not give you the spirit of fear. So what did he give us? He gave us power, love, and a sound mind. And also Jesus gave us his peace. And since we can see peace is more than the absence of war. It's not just peace when you had a fight with your wife and it's quiet. Because that thing can be that thing can go for a minute. That's not peace. That's quiet, but it's not peace. Yeah. So peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is being whole and complete and thorough, lacking nothing. So what Jesus said, that I have given you everything you need to be complete. I've given you everything. I repaired all the broken pieces of your life. And since I gave you now completion, don't let your hearts be troubled because you're complete. So that I already gave you completion, don't let your heart be agitated because you're complete. So the idea, so don't allow ourselves to end up being overly being fearful or agitated because we have his peace. Read this with me, please. Never let the presence of a storm cause you to doubt the presence of God. Come on, somebody. The storm does not mean God forgot you. All right. He is with us in the midst of a storm. It is not like he got you to here like, oh, there's a storm. You're on your own right now, bro. It's like he's with us in the midst of our storm. So don't think because a storm is in your life, and all this other stuff is in your life, that God has turned his back and forgotten us. I love this right here. Read this, please. When you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. When you start doubting, how many here know we have power as believers? I said, how many know we got power as believers? I said, how many know we got some power as believers? When we start doubting that power, we start giving more power to the uncertainty and being unsettled and being unsure. Watch this right here. So there's no room in a believer's life. There's no room for doubt. I said there's no room for doubt. I said there's no room for doubt in the believer. I know I serve a certain God. I'm not going to be unsure. I'm not going to be unsettled. I am not going to find myself being uncertain there because I serve a certain God. So no doubt about it. What's it? No doubt about my faith in God. No doubt about his favor for me. No doubt about my Father who loves me. I'm not going to allow the room for doubt. Because once doubt gets in, see, doubt is almost like the rough family. They don't travel alone. They don't travel by themselves. They travel in a pack. You see one, you see them all. It's like we had some challenges recently with some ants. See, the scout ant goes out to tell the rest of the crew what's going on. So the scout ant goes, and praise God, my wife had some wisdom to put some ant traps down there. I mean, we had a little trail of ants, just like a rough. They kept coming. And I'm saying right now, when doubt shows up, it's the scout ant. And it's going to invite all these other things along with it. It's going to invite worry. It's going to invite fear. It's not going to come by itself. So now I cannot allow room for doubt. Because doubt going to always bring something else with it. So this overcoming doubt, we usually read that later on. So the idea, so don't dig up in doubt what you planted in faith. I'm telling you right now, some folks, we've been waiting, so we've been believing, come on now, and trusting and relying and confessing, and we are ready to see the manifestation. Don't dig up what you've been believing God for because of some news that occurred a month ago. Don't stop believing God because of what the news report says. Don't, you see, at this point, allow faith to continue to work and watch the manifestation and watch the realization and watch the blessings God already has for us. Can you just give God one more hand down of praise for that right now in the name of the Lord? All right, so what we have, so conquer our biggest barrier. Now, I want to go back. So, what was the F for FDR? The F was what? Fear. What was the D? Doubt. Now, watch this R. I want to do this R right now. Okay, the R. Regress. I want to just really talk about this for a minute. Regress. Regress. Don't allow situations of life to cause us to regress. Now, let's first of all look at the definition that I'm making there for you. Let's read the first definition at the top where it says number 1 there at the top. A return to a former or less developed state. Get this, read with me again. To return to a former or less developed state. Let's go and read the last one at the very bottom. Now I'm coming to that. The act of doing what? Going back to a previous place or state. Return or reverse. But then I love this top one. It's a return to a former or less developed state. What does that mean? So right now, let's say right now we use the analogy that now as believers, we're in college in our faith. But a problem comes up and we allow it to knock us back down to kindergarten. We have learned too much from kindergarten to now go back. I know too much about God right now. You can't make me doubt him. I know too much about him. So I now have college level faith. But regression means a problem came up and I went right back down to kindergarten. Now, how is it going to look? Somebody 6'5" sitting at a little kindergarten desk talking about learning some ABCs. We cannot keep going back and regressing whenever a problem comes. We got some college level faith that we know how to confess, we know how to believe, we know how to pray, we know how to trust, we know how to rely, we know how to fast, we know what God has done. And we can't keep going back to kindergarten faith. When problems come up, and people sometimes act like they never even heard of God. All you got to do is look at what God did yesterday and know you can stand today. Look what he did last week, you know you can stand today. Look what God did 5 years ago. Look, you know God has already moved now. And we keep regressing. Watch this. Going back to a former or less developed state. So read this with me, please. Don't let stress cause you to regress. Don't let stress cause you to go back to a former, less developed state. Now, let's talk about stress for a minute. Well, we know what the outcome would be. But what is it? I want to give us a definition of stress to really help us understand this a little bit better, to help us work through this. Stress. Let's read this together. Stress is, watch what happens, a response. Stress is always a response. Keep going. To a situation that a person perceives may not be real. They just perceive it that way. You ever been in a dark room and heard of some noise? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, Lord. It's something that's off the counter. All of a sudden you got somebody in there getting ready to rock. So it's perception. And unfortunately, perception becomes reality. So it's something that happened that a person perceives, keep going, to be overwhelming in that the person does not think he or she can meet the demands of the situation. Here, let me talk about this. So a problem comes and we don't feel equipped to handle it. That's what stress is. Here's my ability, I thought, to handle it. Here's the situation. And stress is that gap between the two. So this thing, if I don't feel like I know what to do, that's what fear. People fear what they don't understand. And because this situation is here, I'm so overwhelmed because I don't know what to do. So as a believer, I don't have to know all the answers because I know who does. As a believer, I don't have to know what happens tomorrow because I know who holds tomorrow. As a believer, I can just trust God and know God's going to lead me and guide me and direct me. So at that point, so stress or a believer should not walk in stress because even if this situation occurred, we know God's got it. Yeah. I said, we know God's got it. I said, we know God's got it. I said, we know God's got it. So there's a